Welcome back to the channel. My name is a-bomb. Welcome back to Football Manager 2022 and something very different today, bit of a special video. Once again, we're looking at a throwback database. We've done a few of these over the years from one or two different creators, and this time the Mad Scientist FM is back again with another database. This time we're going back 30 years. 1992. An annus horribilis for the British royal family, which saw 3 of Queen Elizabeth's children separate or divorce from their partners, as well as one of the Queen's residences, Windsor Castle, badly damaged in a fire. Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster won Best Actor and Actress respectively, as the psychological horror movie Silence of the Lambs swept up the Big 5 Academy Awards. Disneyland Paris opened its doors for the first time, and Bill Clinton was elected the 42nd President of the United States. On television, popular 80s shows such as The Golden Girls and The Cosby Show came to an end, while cable channel Cartoon Network was launched and the first episodes of the animated X-Men and Batman series were broadcast. In sport, the Winter and Summer Olympic Games were held in the same year for the final time, as Albertville and Barcelona hosted their respective games. 1992 also saw the founding of the FA Premier League, as 22 football clubs broke away from the Football League in a £305 million deal with Sky to broadcast top-flight matches. Later in September, 2 brothers named Paul and Edward Collier conceived an idea for a football simulation game, which became Championship Manager. These types of games have come a long way since 1992, when there was no pitch on the match engine, average ratings were a new concept, and there were no real names either, as player names were instead randomly generated. To commemorate the 30th anniversary of Championship Manager's first edition, the Mad Scientist FM has recreated the world of football as we knew it with the 1992-93 database. And here it is, the 1992-93 database, which the Mad Scientist has spent so much time on, over 2,000 hours on FM22 and on the editor, recreating football as it was in 1992. If you're watching this video, the database is now available. It's just been made available as I'm uploading this video. So yeah, as soon as you're watching this video, you can get it for yourself. And we're going to do 2 videos with this. First one, we're just going to be having a look around 1992, seeing what's about and seeing what we can find. And then in the next video, we're going to be simulating to present day in this database, recreating the past 30 years of football, rewriting history. That's going to be in a video tomorrow. And there's links to get the database in the description. There's links to all of Mad Scientist's socials, his Twitch channel, his Patreon, which you can support if you want to get early access to future databases. And there's also a link down below where you can get yourselves the old logos from 1992 and also possibility to get Facepacks for it as well. There's another creator whose name is Ash who did Facepacks for this database. So where do we start with this? Well, seeing as this is the inaugural Premier League season, I think we should start with the Premier League, which looks a bit different. Arsenal are still here, of course. They've never been relegated from a league at all, but we have Blackburn Rovers here, we have Coventry, we have Ipswich, we have the current champions Leeds, who won the final first division before it got restructured. We've also got Nottingham Forest up here in what I believe was Brian Clough's last season in charge, and then they got relegated. We have Oldham Athletic up here, managing to get into the Premier League. Queen's Park Rangers. Wimbledon down the bottom there. Of course, Wimbledon no longer exists. We have AFC Wimbledon, and then they sort of relocated and became the MK Dons. Of course, this is a couple of years after their famous FA Cup win over Liverpool, and they have Joe Kinnear in charge, and Wimbledon with players here like John Fashanu, Vinnie Jones in 1992 playing for Chelsea. So Chelsea, of course, we're still over a decade before their purchase by Roman Abramovich, which of course is in the news again for obvious reasons today. But looking at this Chelsea side, still, you know, some noticeable players in there: Graham Lasso, Dennis Wise, Andy Townsend. Of course, the aforementioned Vinnie Jones, Tony Cascarino as well. But let's have a look at my team, shall we? Let's have a look at Liverpool, managed by Graham Souness. And there you can see, you know, the old Facepacks. And this side has got some really good sort of young players in it and some of the more experienced men in it as well, like Jan Molby, like Ian Rush. John Barnes at 28 years old, playing probably at the top of his game, probably the best he'll ever be. He was 62 goals for Liverpool so far. Dean Saunders and Ronnie Rosenthal, the strike partnership. David James at 21 years old. We've got a 19-year-old Jamie Redknapp, pretty quick at 19 years old. A good young player, some good flair, good vision, really good passer of the ball. And then also on this bench, we have a 20-year-old Steve McManaman. With those physicals as well, 20 fitness, 18 pace, and 18 dribbling. Just a really good carrier of the ball on that right-hand side for Liverpool. And then we've also got a 17-year-old Robbie Fowler here with 17 finishing. He's listed for loan by Liverpool. So if you're starting a save, I mean, check out Robbie Fowler for a player to bring in. He could be really good for you. Best thing is, if you go down to the youth teams in Liverpool, you've got a 14-year-old Jamie Carragher and you have a 14-year-old Michael Owen here. I mean, looking at his stats, we don't know if he'll actually go into something in this save or in this database. It depends what his hidden potential is. But he's a very determined player, I'll say that much. Let's go to the top of the alphabet. We've got Arsenal, managed by George Graham. This is 3 years before Arsene Wenger took charge. David Seaman in goal. We've got Lee Dixon and Tony Adams in defence. You've got Paul Merson there at 24. You've got Ian Wright up top as well. 28-year-old striker, got 24 goals in his first season. Current champions Leeds United here, they are managed by Howard Wilkinson. And here we've got a midfield that's got David Batty, Gary McAllister, and the late great Gary Speed as well. And then we've got Eric Cantona up front, 26 years old, playing for Leeds. Of course, this was just before he joined Manchester United. Look at some of those mentals. He was just a phenomenal player, wasn't he? Who else haven't we looked at here? I mean, you've got to look at Manchester United, haven't you? Alex Ferguson, yet to win a Premier League title with Man United. Of course, joined in 86. And after 6 years, still yet to win the league title with them. And then the Man United side, we've got Peter Schmeichel in goal, his second season after joining from Brøndby. And then at the back, we've got Gary Pallister, we've got Steve Bruce, who scored that famous winning goal. We've got Dennis Irwin, Paul Ince, Mark Hughes at 28. We've got a 19-year-old Ryan Giggs, who, of course, played so many games for United over the years, a 20-year career with United. And then if you go into the youth team, we have the class of 92. We've got Gary Neville, we've got Nicky Butt, we've got David Beckham, we've got Paul Scholes, Robbie Savage as well, 17 years old. So I think we've spent plenty of time looking at the Premier League. You can actually see that the top league at the moment is Serie A, because Italian football in the 1990s was just hit different. And the current champions in Italy, AC Milan, managed by Fabio Capello. And this side was just fantastic. AC Milan, multiple Champions League wins, last winning it in 1990, and this team was just fantastic. We had Paolo Maldini and Costa Curta in that back four. Maldini, one of the greatest defenders of all time. Franco Baresi in there as well. Frank Rijkaard, Ruud Gullit, Donadoni, Jean-Pierre Papin, Marco van Basten, who won the Ballon d'Or in 92. Just an outstanding AC Milan side. And go a bit further down, we've got Cudicini here at 18 years old. Then you've got Juventus as well, one of the other big sides in Italy. David Platt was playing for Juventus at this time, age 26. Of course, one of England's prominent players in the 90s. And we've got Antonio Conte playing here as well. Paolo Di Canio. And then we've got Roberto Baggio. Now, who in school played Roberto Baggio's Magical Kicks? Because that was how I was introduced to this man. Magical Kicks was just the go-to flash game to play in school when you're trying to DOS off. And this guy was just absolutely fantastic. What a football player he was. We've got Inter Milan here, of course, as well. We've got Lazio. We've got Napoli. Parma, I believe, is the side that the Mad Scientist support. So let's have a look at the Parma side, see who they've got. Again, some really, really talented players here. And of course, Parma would go on to be, again, one of the very best sides in Italy. Aspria here, of course, the Colombian striker. And I believe if you go down into the youth team in Parma, we've got a young Gianluigi Buffon, 14 years of age. Of course, went from Parma to Juventus. And just this year is back playing for Parma at the age of, 40 years old now? He's gone back to Parma, which I think is a fantastic story. Buffon, 14 years old here. And yeah, just waiting in the wings to come through. And of course, you've got your sides like Roma here as well. Interesting badge for Roma. Look at that wolf. And there may well be players here that I've missed or players that I don't really recognise that someone else might. So, have a look and you'll find something that I missed. We'll have a look at La Liga and we'll look at Barcelona. This was a Barcelona side managed by Johan Cruyff. So, total football all the way here. And again, just a really, really fantastic squad with Ronald Koeman in there, 29 years old rather. Pep Guardiola, a 21-year-old player. Got Michael Laudrup, of course, Denmark in 1992 shocked everyone by winning the Euros, by winning the European Championship. But the Laudrup brothers didn't play a part in that team. They quit the national team a couple of years earlier. And Denmark's win in 1992 is just a story in itself, because it is just a really interesting story. So yeah, I recommend sort of checking that out if you haven't really sort of read into it, because it is a really interesting story. But Laudrup, yeah, didn't play a part in that 1992 tournament. Anyway, back to Barcelona. Up front, they've got Christos Deutschkov, one of Bulgaria's very best footballers ever. They're the current holders of the very first Champions League. Before this, it was the European Cup, but 91-92 was the first edition of the UEFA Champions League, and Barcelona won it. Then we've got the Real Madrid side, of course, Barcelona's El Clasico rivals. They've got Michel, they've got a 22-year-old Luis Enrique. And again, if we go down into the youth team, we've got some players here that you might recognise. Guti, one of those players. And we've got Raul at 15 years old as well. We'll make a little trip into France and look at Monaco, where we do find Arsene Wenger managing AS Monaco. And here you've got a side that has Lilian Thuram in it at 20 years old. Claude Puel, who'd later become a manager. Emmanuel Petit at 21 years old. Yuri Djorkaeff as well. And Jurgen Klinsmann up front, 27-year-old striker for Germany, playing in France. Paris Saint-Germain are here. And their badge is very interesting. Artur Jorge, the manager of PSG. And looking at their side, anyone here that you recognise? Let's have a look. We've got David Ginola, who my mum had a very big crush on. And they've got George Weah here as well, the Liberian, the only African player to win the World Player of the Year. So a brief look at France. Two more leagues that we can actually see on this database. Germany, a couple more countries that they've released. Germany, we have the Bundesliga. Let's look at the Bayern side here then. Eric Ribbeck in charge of them. And the Bayern side here, we can have a look through here. We've got Christian Ziege. We've got Lothar Matthäus, a very, very good player. 31 years of age, playing about as at the top of his game. Borussia Dortmund here as well. Haven't won the Bundesliga for about 30 years, but they would, of course, become a side to be reckoned with when they had guys like Paul Lambert playing for them. I think they win the Champions League in 97, something like that. The only other country that we can look at is Scotland. So let's have a brief look at the Celtic and Rangers sides, the SPL, Scottish Premiership. Liam Brady managing Celtic, and this is their side. Charlie Nicholas up top would become, one of these Soccer Saturday pundits alongside like Jeff Stelling and Paul Merson and Phil Thompson and all those. Looking at the youth team, we've got some players here, but no one here that I really recognise. Hold on, Shay Givens here. A 16-year-old Irish goalkeeper called Shay Given, playing for the Celtic youth side. And then we go to the other Old Firm side, Rangers, managed by Walter Smith, who I think passed away recently, like last year, I'm not quite sure. They've got Andy Gorham in goal, and they do have up front, or on the bench at the very least, a 29-year-old Ali McCoist, who's been here. This is his 10th year at Rangers. 177 goals in 289 games. Now, those are the 6 countries that we can look at, but we can look at one or two other bits and pieces. For example, we can look at some of the lower divisions, like the first division. This is before it became the championship in about 2005. But the first division, you can see here, we do have some sides which you might, expect to be in the Premier League at the moment, like Leicester City. We've got Newcastle United down here as well, managed by Kevin Keegan. And, haven't quite got into that sort of mid-90s, high point that they had when they were challenging for those league titles. And Kevin Keegan was, doing his thing on the microphone. But they do have a guy called Steve Harper playing for them, who would go on to play for Newcastle many, many years after this. And while you can't manage in divisions below that, you can have a look at some of the other sides around. You can see Wolverhampton here in the second division. And have a look at their sides and see who's down here. But, some of the teams down here, you expect them today to be in the Premier League. Burnley down here in the second division as well. So there you go. Now there's obviously wonder kids all around the world as well. Like if we look at Brazil, we're going to find, some of the players that would become some of Brazil's very best. For example, forget about your Cristianos. R9 is here, 15 years old and playing in Brazil, and he become one of the very best players in the world. Just checking this is the right one. Yes, it is. Ronaldo Luis Nazario de Lima. The Ronaldo. This is R9. And then you can go further. You can look for some of those other Brazilian players. We've got Rivaldo. Look at Rivaldo. Look at Rivaldo playing on loan from Santa Cruz in Corinthians. What a player he is. You could even find a young left back at União São João called Roberto Carlos. 19 years of age. 18 free kicks, long shots, long throws, pace. I could look at this database all day. I really could. And even then, like, we looked at Italy. There's one guy we couldn't find, Gabriel Batistuta. We didn't look at Fiorentina, but if you go to Fiorentina, you'll find this guy, one of the best finishers of the ball, 19 finishing, that fitness, that strength, just a fantastic, like, complete striker. Imagine if you went back to 1992 and they had the next gen list. Imagine what that list would look like of these players, you know, under 19 in 1992 that over the next decade would become some of the very best in the world. That would be amazing to see. And there's probably things that I've missed, probably things when you're saying like, Andy, why did you not look at this player or that player? I've been recording for 36 minutes, so I've got to try and make, you know, a decent sized video out of this. But yeah, it's been really fun to look around this. We're not done with this database though, because tomorrow we are going to be taking this database and simulating 30 years into the future to the present day. So we're going to be simulating to 2022 and seeing what the world of football looks like if we rewrite the last 30 years of football history. So it may well be that Manchester United don't win a league title. It may well be that Leeds stay in the league or Nottingham Forest stay in the league. England might win a World Cup. Anything could happen. So that's what we're going to be doing in our next video. We're going to simulate to present day in this database, and we're going to rewrite the last 30 years of football history and see how the landscape of football looks. But that's going to do it for today's video. Once again, thank you to the Mad Scientist FM for putting so much time into these databases. They are really, really fun to look at every year. I always look forward to it. And if you do want to get it for yourself, it is available right now. If you go to the description, you can find it. There's also links down below to the Mad Scientist socials and to his Patreon page, where you can pledge just $1 a month and you can get early access to future databases as well. And of course, we're going to do another video with this where we're going to simulate to the present day, to 2022, and see what happens there. If you want to see that as soon as it comes out, you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, or if you are new. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and leave comments. They are the best ways to support my channel. And if you haven't seen my current series, The Local to Global Journeyman, we're currently in Gibraltar. I recommend checking that out as well, because it's a really fun journeyman. I'll leave a link to the playlist down below, so if you want to watch it from the start, then you can. Otherwise, you just click on my channel, you'll find something to watch. It might be another experiment, it might be a simulation, it might be my current series. If you click on my channel, you're bound to find something that I think you'll enjoy. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.